one day. Started off with huge amount of variability, as you can see from the beginning part of the control chart. Then we found that once we harmonize, tighten the process, make it more clear, transparent, educate, bring in the right set of behaviors, we see a lot of the pre-sales activities getting grouped into a more structured way. And the entire journey also included bringing in a account management based life cycle rather than a product based life cycle when it comes to sales. Fact-based accounting, fact-based account management planning, for taking away, I think this customer is going to buy in the next quarter. So now we want to take away these I thinks, right? But we understand the qualitative information coming from the sales guys are important, but we want to match with what can also be brought in through data and structure. And as an example, in our France market, we saw 85% reduction in the time to develop a quote and submitting to the customer, which also includes developing technical proposals, etc. And then right now, as we speak, almost 90% of our commercial offers are turned around within 5 days. So earlier it used to be a couple of weeks to turn back to a customer request. Now we are making sure that at least from our side, the sales teams are able to get the required support, both within the sales organization and outside the sales organization, which makes sure that we get back to the customer at least 90% of the time in a matter of 5 business days as we measure it. Now comes the question, what can analytics do here, right? So how do we sustain? So what we have built typically is a set of analytical engines, the way we call it. So here also, if you look at the entire pipeline of sales processes, starting from lead generation, qualification process into opportunity, and how do we manage it throughout the pre-sales, and then actually how do we convert an opportunity into a sale. So the entire gambit of process which comes under the sales account management umbrella. So we support them on a couple of things. One is the data process DC which comes in, which talks about the leads which are underworking, and once the deal is completed, it goes to our ERP, which is the historical sales information, what are been the lifetime value of a customer, what kind of margins we get from them, what are the top issues from the service perspective. So all this information comes back. And then we also bring in external data, which typically includes, which pockets of a particular market is expected to grow or decline, or what are some of the external factors which the sales team need to know. And then the data comes to one place and then goes into a semi-automized. It's not completely automized because you still need to find out which variable makes an impact, which is lesser impact, what we need to change, etc. And finally, specific account-specific, market-specific intelligence reaches in front of the sales teams, which helps their better prepping up when they meet a customer and better conversion efficiencies. So I'll talk about an example to illustrate this point, what we have developed as part of the solution. So I'm not sure it's readable. So typically, there are many questions which come up in a particular cadence. So the given example is, hey, if I'm a sales leader, in the middle of the month I suddenly realize that my funnel strength, which is my yet to be converted leads in my SFDC, is not helping me to meet my sales target. So there could be a number of reasons behind, and many a times there are multiple things to go after, and we want the sales teams to be focused on selling, not on analyzing multiple pieces of data, and may not be in the harmonized way which we intend to do. So there could be multiple reasons, starting from the opportunities. What is my quantity of opportunities? How good are they? What are the quality of opportunities? And within each one of them, hey, how have been trending? What is my percentage of new opportunities versus the overall opportunity? Or how are we compared to last quarter, compared to last year, to look at seasonality effect. Also to look at what had been my percentage conversion by week. So a lot of points to be checked before I say, hey, my issue is related to the number of opportunities, or the issue is related to the quality of opportunities. There could be impacts, or there could be variables coming in from the seller or the salespeople. Either something to do with the conversion efficiency. There are multiple factors which affect the conversion efficiency. There's some productivity issue. Is there an absenteeism which is coming into play? Is it that the guys are spending less time on the field? or if you have a target set of activities which need to be done as part of the pre-sales, are the people doing it efficiently or not? Other factors from a customer perspective, hey, is a particular deal getting unduly delayed because of a customer delay? Is it because customer is asking an additional number of demonstration or more number of code revisals, which means either something wrong in our code preparation process wherein we didn't assume the right set of assumptions to make sure that we complete the delivery on time. It could also be related to market dynamics, both internal and external. Internal could be, hey, if it's a price change in the pipeline which is potentially causing an anxiety in the customer's mind to delay the decision, or is it because something happening from the competition side where a new product launch or new variant launch which completely disrupts our price positioning in the market. So there are, even for one question which is propping up during a sales meeting, there are several factors which need to be ascertained before somebody makes a decision and goes ahead. So in the given example, if I compile everyone, so all these factors, it appears complex here, it is actually complex, right? So there are about 30 plus variables for one decision, right? So, and then imagine the complexity, we have multiple sales teams in each market, we have multiple lines of business, we have multiple sales leaders rolling up into a market lead, and we have regional market leaders, we have country level market leaders, so everyone needs to take a decision as short or as fast as possible. So in this case, the analytical solution we have developed is, moment we find out a symptom, we automatically go and check. There are thresholds defined on what should be the tempo of conversion. There are thresholds defined on historically whenever we have achieved a particular target, what had been our ramp up, what had been our conversion efficiencies. It checks for the actual performance, compare with the predefined algorithms, and throws out what is important, what the sales team need to do today versus last week versus next week. And the entire idea is to make sure that whatever gains we achieve through the process improvement is sustained through well-defined analytic solutions, be it in the supply chain side or the sales side. The two examples I want to cover. So I think that brings us to another 5 minutes of the scheduled time for any Q&A. Okay. Is there a mic or something?
Is there a mic or something? Or I can throw
I can hear, but I'm just making sure that others can hear you. But why don't you start? I can repeat your question for the...
Okay. So my question is with respect to the first project that you have shown. So I'm actually curious to know actually two things from you. One is you started with a Lean Six Sigma project which looked at only at the fulfillment side and it did not look at much on the demand planning and the forecasting side. So just wanted to know what was the reason for that. But more importantly, what I want to know is the analytics that you have done, the third part which was on the proactive analytics and the information that you have given, how different it is from the typical forecast accuracy techniques that we use to improve our forecasting techniques, because there also we use a lot of statistical models. How different was that from what you have done?
So there were two questions, and so the process improvements are done across the globe by regional teams, right? So even though I am from the Six Sigma background, I no longer do Six Sigma projects, right? So our team supports the various analytical services solutions globally for Philips, based out of Bangalore. So the regional teams are where we have the lean champions and black belts, and so they do all the improvement. So the example I shared with you, the people have looked at the downstream side of the fulfillment, like I said, the collaborative way of demand planning, we found we have some journey to cover because of the dynamics in the market. So people did not, so the entire Six Sigma lean journey was more on downstream side, that given an order comes in, how quickly I can deliver it. And again, like I said, we predominantly operate on this particular business side on a stock field or stock-based fulfillment model. So the focus was on downstream side of the activity, how can we bring in efficiencies in the various stages of fulfillment. To your second question, the early warning solution or the proactive management was not focused on how accurate is the demand. It was more focused on, given the set of 1,000 orders, let's say, under fulfillment, how do I prioritize the 1,000 orders in each part of my fulfillment to make sure that I have the maximum buck for the given amount of resources I have, given amount of material I have. So in this example, we have not, or I have not spoken about what we are doing on the demand, increasing the accuracy forecasting process. So that is a separate activity we are doing. So the given context, we have looked at once the order is accepted in the fulfillment stream, irrespective of which part of the stages of the fulfillment are, what we need to do proactively. Because the current state is, hey, if I have to deliver 1,000 orders to Amazon, right, who is one of our big customers, I get to know, I think internally I am doing well, good or bad. But when in the pre-state, and when the report comes after a month or a month and a half, I completely see something is different, right? Now the situation is, if I'm in the middle of the month and I have shipped out, let's say, 400 units out of the 1,000 units for the month, so the team gets to know how did I perform on the 400 units which have gone out, good or bad. And based on the good or bad of the 400, what need to be done incrementally on the remaining 600 to make sure that when the 1,000 units gets delivered by the end of the month, and when we get measured on the overall 1,000 units, I meet the expectations from the customer. So that is the proactive early warning or alerting system we spoke about.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, that's a couple of times.
Can you throw some light
Switch it on.
Six engines? See, many times whenever we start with Lean Six Sigma kind of project, so normally we just work on that particular training area. But holistically, from business excellence perspective, so do you have your own built, say, analytics engine? Because I could see one of the slides which takes care of all the data, and you are getting triggers out of a data so that you focus more on your, say, predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. Because is there any kind of a strategy, or is there any kind of, because as far as other organizations are concerned, see, many Six Sigma projects are happening. They are focusing on that particular pain area for that particular client, and they are working. They are trying to sustain it. But are you doing anything holistically for the business sector?
So when it comes to pre-built analytical engines, right? If you look at any of the commonly available commercial solutions in the market, so be it R, which is an open source package, be it SaaS or be it SPSS, etc. So they all do come with some pre-built. But my own personal experience being in this domain for the last about 8 years is you need to customize. There are hardly any algorithm which you can just plug and paste, right? You need to bring in the context of your business into it. Right? You may have some solution which can be used where, hey, I have an external data on consumers, I want to segment them, right? And there could be some key labels which can be used for segmentation. But any organization will have internal ways of, let's say, segmenting a customer base or a consumer base, which need not be a ready-made fit into some of the standard labels for segmentation. I'm just taking an example of the segmentation, right? So you need to tweak in, and there are some lot of easy graphical interface which avoids a data scientist to sit and code. You can pull in, if I want to run a regression model, if I want to run a discriminant analysis model, you can bring in those algorithms, but invariably you need to customize it. The customization may vary from the context you are working on, but you need to touch it. There are hardly anything which is, you come, load it, and then enter it, right? So that is our experience. And on holistically, what we are trying to do across the organization is, the common industry practice that we have a centralized team who can understand the various priorities across a large organization like ours, wherein we bring in, with best practices happening in one side, how quickly we can replicate to the other side. So, being a central team at a corporate level, we do get visibility of where there are, if not white spots, at least gray spots, or if not green centers of excellence, at least we have, bright spots which can be immediately replicated. So we use that leverage of having a bird's eye view on all the activities happening across the businesses to make sure that we are able to act as a catalyst. That if in one part of the world there is a supply chain problem, we typically can go back and say, hey, we already done this similar in other part of the world, so we can do if not 100% immediate fitment, we can start from somewhere 60-70% and plug in the remaining only the 20-30% to suit the specific situation. And my summary would be, there is no proven formula you can just copy and paste. So it depends again on the maturity of the organization, on how adaptive the business leaders are to make decisions purely on data And most importantly, the data available in the right space, right quality, quantity for you, because most of the time you see it all over the place. And there are redundancies, there are multiple definitions of the same KPI. So it again is a function of current maturity levels for analytics. So I saw a couple of hands. It all depends upon how much time we have. Sorry? Okay, then I think we can catch up during the break or something. Thank you. Thank you.
The next speaker for today will be Naveen. The next speaker for today will be Manoj Sethi. Manoj is currently working as a director and GM of APM India, a subsidiary of APM International UK. He manages business in SAARC countries including India and also Northeast and Central Africa and South Africa. The topic which he is speaking today will be an insight to change management process.
Waiting for the device. We are so dependent on technology and stiff, right? Now try to turn without turning your body. Just turn your hand. Are you feeling constricted? Yes. Yeah. You're not able to move much. That's what happens when there's a change. You feel so constricted in your mind that okay, I can't go beyond this because I've been taught this is the way to do certain things. And when there is a paradigm shift or a paradigm change, we feel so constricted, so restricted in our movement.
Remote control. We all like to have remote controls in our hand. Sorry?
You can ask for it. I think it's
Sorry?
already there. You can ask for one to be set.
Yeah, I think we should, right? So I'm embedding a little bit of facilitation into the change process. So in the 30 minutes, I'm going to talk about different definitions, emotions, reality of change. Is change necessary? A little bit of brain tickler, change process, change models, and another brain tickler. And the next stage, I'm going to talk about core to leadership, paradoxes of leadership. Then we're going to go on to facilitation, need for facilitator, and characteristics of facilitator. Okay, this is what we're going to cover today. So, change defined. I think some of you did mention about what change is, right? To make the form, nature, content, etc. different. Someone said different, right? That's the key word from what it was when it was left alone. To transform or convert. Well, I masked the space because I don't want to get into political controversies. Okay? And to become altered or modified. Yeah? From a existing state of status quo or continuity or whatever it is. Emotions of change. Now, I've mentioned here, yes, some of us think change is quite an evil, right? We fear change. The moment we say change, oh God, not again, right? I was speaking to someone from a very large organization, and he was telling me that every day, let's say you start the work in the morning, you complete your work in the evening, considering that day's work, okay, processes and everything. The next morning he comes, the process has changed. So again, they have to restart some of the things, but many of the things are quite, interdependent or independent of each other. So the work goes on, but every day there's a consistent change. So the feeling of evil. Some of us feel trapped in our original positions. We don't feel like moving out, yeah, like the baby there. And some of us find it very difficult and some of us find it confusing. Sorry?
We don't like it.
You don't like it, change? Yeah, it's here. All this. Great.
Challenging.
Challenging, yes. That's good.
Risk.
Risk, perfect. Yeah. Why do you say risk? How do you connect risk to change?
Yeah. If any changes, the risk is involved.
Yeah.
We don't know what is the outcome.
Outcome of the change, right? Okay. Now people don't come to work every day saying that, okay, today I want to have a change, right? We all love to have a consistent, what is that? What do you call it? The zone?
Comfort
Comfort zone. We all love to be in our comfort zones. We don't like change. No one comes to work, and when the real change happens, this is where you are. All of us are, right? Unfortunately or fortunately, life is all about change, right? You have, the Malaysian Airlines, right? Very sad, but yeah, that's change in life, right? For many people. You have destructions, you have all kinds of things which change. Change is quite natural, don't you think so? Nature changes, right? The same Bangalore is not the same every day, yeah? You have droughts, you have floods, you have all kinds of things happening on this planet Earth, and it's just one planet Earth. And you saw the extent of the universe the previous sessions, right? Mr. KANBAN showed about how big the universes are, you want to call it that. Is change really necessary?
Yes.
I think in our context, definitely yes in India, right? You look at all the things that we are. I was just sitting and listening to KANBAN talking about all the technological changes that's going to happen, and just saying, okay, how it's going to affect them, right? You look at the kind of things that needs to transform. It's not change; it's probably a transformation that you require here, right? You have all these things happening in this country. You have scams, you have all child labor, you have everything possible, right? And on the other hand, we have the best of technologies, best of professionals, all of you sitting here. Yeah? Well, I'm sure you know this. Who's this? You can't forget him, right? And who's the other person there?
Head of IoT.
Sorry?
Head of IoT.
Native of?
Olympics.